Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm Chelsea, you know that. I sure as heck know it. And he knows too, but he just doesn't care. Today we have quite a shocking, is it shocking at this point? Zoom call to go over. I have really been trying to branch out and sneak into Zoom calls that have to do with other MLMs and, not just money. Again, if y'all would like to send me other clips, media, video ideas, your scam story, if you want to submit that, the directions to do so are down below in the description box. So please send that over. I do appreciate y'all. Without you, I would literally not be able to put out this much content. And I do appreciate you being so supportive of the fact that I let y'all know that I'm really challenging myself this month in September to put out 20 videos this month. Just a little challenge I'm doing with myself. If any other YouTubers watching and wants to, do that as well, go for it. Our own version of a 90-day run like the MLM people do. Speaking of September, the seasons are changing. It's getting breezier. The leaves are changing. People are going back to school. Speaking of which, I've decided I'm going to go back to school. I know. Why? Why? It's going to be expensive, but learning doesn't always have to be expensive, which brings us to the sponsor of this video, Babbel, which is one of the top language learning apps in the world. Babbel has multiple different ways how to learn. They have games you can do, which I love. Babbel has multiple different ways that you can learn. They make it super easy for you, not boring at all. Because let's be honest, who retained any information they learned in Spanish 1, 2, or 3 in high school? Probably none of us. I can tell you from my experience, I have retained more information from using Babbel than I did back then. They have not only games, which I love, podcasts as well, short 10-minute interactive lessons. And then also a newer one that they have it's called Culture Bites. And that is my favorite. I love it so much. So take a break with these quick, fun reads, facts, and cultural insight. I've told y'all so many times that if you go somewhere new, if you're going to a different region, a different foreign area, a different country, you gotta know do's and don'ts when it comes to cultural things, right? And I love this. So for instance, when greeting, it says just a peck, and it tells you in Latin America, it's common to greet family and friends and acquaintances with one kiss on the cheek, generally one on the right cheek, which is followed sometimes by a hug. In most countries, you'll only see 2 women or a man and a woman greet each other like this. You'll generally only see 2 men greet each other like this in Argentina, Chile, and Uruguay. When in doubt, just follow the lead of the person you're greeting. Love it. All of my travels, I've traveled quite a bit in my life. I have noticed that when you do respect the culture and try to abide by what is normal or what they do there, then people not only are nicer to you, obviously, but they will, go out of their way to help you because, you're trying. Babbel also has speech recognition technology that does help you with your pronunciation and your accent as well, which is super important. And they have a 20-day money-back guarantee as well. So comment down below and let me know what language, if any, that you would want to learn. I would love personally to be fluent, obviously, in Spanish, but I think French as well. Now, if you want to Mantente Picante, make sure that you click the link down below to start your subscription with Babbel. They do have multiple different subscription options, including a lifetime subscription option, which is pretty awesome. And that is a great opportunity if you are looking to learn a new language. So go ahead and click the link in my description box for 60% off of your Babbel subscription today. All right, y'all, now let's get into the serious learning here, which is whatever this Young Living team is going to tell us. I don't think anything good, which if the wallpaper behind her is a sign of how this is going to go, I don't think it's going to be good. Also, keep in mind, y'all know they always talk really slow, so I will be speeding it up to 1.25, just so you know.
You are here so we can talk about the brain. This is going to be a good one. I have enjoyed talking about this in the past when we've done this. And I feel like, especially after the last couple of years, that more than ever, we're all just a little brain fried. Do you guys feel that way? Just sometimes it's not working the way that we think it should work at all. And it seems to be a hot button topic just for everyone of all ages. Just that why do I feel so fried? Why can't I remember anything? Even kind of the emotional anxiety side of things. Why am I just in a haze all of the time? But it's really interesting because we are assaulting our brain more than we ever have before. I think in some ways, in ways that it was not intended to necessarily be used. It was supposed to have time to think and time to do all that, but we're just always putting things in front of it. And yet we're probably nourishing it in some ways less than we ever have before. And so that's a kind of a deadly combination. If you think about it, we're asking a whole lot of it, but not giving it a whole lot. And so if we want that to change, then we need to spend a little time and energy and investment in this incredibly important part of how we function and how our kids function. And as we go back to school and get on normal schedules and all of those types of things, I think it comes back to our attention. And then we're going, okay, now I'm ready to focus and ready to learn and ready to get things done and all of that. Come on, brain, come on, you know. And so I am excited tonight to just talk about some of those things we can do to be a friend and make a deposit. You guys that have been on these calls for a long time have heard me talk about how I view health, which is basically that we have a bank. We have a bank of credits and we use them all up at some point. We have to rest, we have to put back in, we have to decide what we're going to use them for. And so I want to talk about things we can do to put credits into the bank that are there for our brains. And I think sometimes it's just good to remind ourselves that we are in many ways absolutely in control of this, because it feels like so much is outside of our control right now. And
Y'all know I mean business when I'm taking notes. Positive feedback from someone who I'm pretty sure does not like me. And they even said, they were like, I like that she, you know, is like taking notes and like getting back to that when she's like doing, you know, Zoom call reviews. And I was like, you know what? I appreciate that. That means a lot coming from someone who like clearly doesn't like me. Also, one of the reasons why I really have to take notes during these types of calls, or like take notes at any time, is because I will forget. It's no secret. It's no, you know, shock that a lot of people have experienced long haul or residual, if you will, lingering, leftover, whatever you want to call it, schmovid symptoms. The only reason I ever call it that, guys, is because I don't want to get like dinged or demonetized or anything like that. Sometimes that can happen. I don't want that to happen. I don't want the YouTube like robot to be like, she said that word. Definitely not spreading, you know, medical misinformation. I'm telling you my experience. So I had it confirmed 1.5 times. So tested positive at the beginning of 2021. And we were like, both of us said we were so happy though, because we were like, oh, we hadn't gotten it. Like we survived the whole year without getting it. Yay. And then we got it like the whole month of January of 2021. You know, right after that, almost like in like March, I think it was, we both got vaxxed, then we got double vaxxed, whatever. And then I'm pretty sure I had it for like a day. I think it was like the Delta that I had, and I was like almost dying for like a day, right? And then I was fine. It was so weird. And I couldn't find any tests. They were all sold out. It was mayhem. And there weren't even tests available then, like home tests, really. I don't even remember. Anyways, I was fine. I still like quarantined for a good bit. Last Christmas, me and Tony both were like, oh, we feel like garbage. And then he was fine. And then I still felt like garbage for like a while. We got a bunch of the home tests and I kept testing negative. And I was like, okay, so I don't have it. And then we hung out with my family, and then my parents got it. And we were like the only people that they had seen. And I was like, ugh. So I was like, fine. I didn't have any like residual symptoms up until that last time that I kept testing negative. But I was pretty sure I still had it after I got confirmation that they had it right. So since then, since January, basically, of the beginning of this year, I have had such bad brain fog. And when you are someone that already has ADHD, good Lord. And I've been like super aware of it now, and it's so frustrating. I used to be able to like, I feel like I was so much more witty before, and you know, so quick and able to like articulate a sentence so well. No pauses, no ums, no like brain farts. But now my brain is soup. Long haul symptoms like that are absolutely real. People experience that and they suck. The like lingering brain fog is definitely something I deal with, and it's extremely frustrating. And it just sucks, especially when your literal job is to talk into a camera. Thank God I edit. I could not do live streams. I don't know how people do like that as their only content, but I'm already frustrated that I know that I'm pretty positive she's just going to say the most random crap about it and basically just try to like rub essential oils on your brain. Why is this a training call? What does this have to do with one, selling anything? Let's be honest, we usually know that any of these training calls don't have anything to do with selling a product, but sometimes they have like something to do with like recruiting someone. But I have a feeling this isn't going to have anything to do with recruiting someone. So like, what is this?
Just spinning around, but we are in control of getting this back where we can think better and we can operate better and we can function better. So what I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to let Kim start, and she's going to tell a little bit of her story and some things that have worked for her and the way that she has done that for her and her family, because she has spent quite a bit of time and energy on investing in this part of their health and figuring this out. So I'm going to let her share from her perspective. And then I am going to come back in, and I have like a list, and you can take notes and all that kind of stuff of just some ways that I feel like we can nourish and take care of our brain for optimal function. So all right, Kim, you can just go for it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Courtney. Thank you not only for inviting me to share our story, but just also for providing this time every Monday evening for us to join others and find solutions.
Girl, that's so many essential oils behind you. First of all, loving the built-in setup you have there. Would be better if you were in a taller chair and your, thing was a little bit further back, but so many essential oils. Probably like $600 worth of essential oils behind you. Is that what's making your brain better? Absolutely no. Like, how do they believe this stuff? So like doing that, like memorizing stuff and like mind games and stuff, like that really helps me personally. But then also, and maybe she's going to say that, who knows? But then also like going through like legal documents and stuff and reading as well, but keeping your mind active and like challenging yourself can really help with that. At least I know that that's really helped me with my like brain fog and stuff and like work through it. And then obviously like resting and getting enough sleep and all that. But like, what could they say right now that's like I guess I should just let them say it instead of just guessing.
When I began this journey almost 17 years ago, I didn't even have a computer. I didn't have a cell phone. Social media didn't exist. I think MySpace might have. I didn't know anyone that had gone through what I was going through. I didn't know anybody who was currently going through what I was going through. And I didn't have anybody to ask for advice. And I was lonely. And to be honest, I felt a lot of judgment from other parents as far as my parenting was concerned. And I would have given anything for a community like this to turn to and find answers that I was looking for. And so I'm just really, really grateful for this space. I'm a homeschool mom, 2 boys, 14 and 19. And if you have a child that has trouble focusing, sitting still, anxiety, sleep, big emotions, that's what I'm talking about tonight. And I just want to say that I have been there. I've been in all of the places. And I've walked this journey as a mom with kids that were in school.
Are you homeschooling your 19-year-old? I mean, I guess you're still technically like a homeschool mom if you did homeschool them anyways.
And I've walked this journey as a mom with kids that were in school, kids that were homeschooled, kids that were medicated in school and not medicated in school, and kids that were medicated in homeschool and not medicated in homeschool, and most recently as a mom with a kid in college. And so you might be here tonight just for looking for ways to support your kids going back to school. And that's awesome, because you're going to find some really great ideas tonight that I didn't know existed back when I started this journey. But you also might be here because you're desperate for change. Maybe somebody even told you, like, you've got to come to this class because this might be a struggle in your life. And you might be like I was waking up in the middle of the night, praying for answers, crying from worried about my child in school, worried about, his social interactions, worried that he had friends, worried about his emotions. And I'm just glad you're here tonight, because I want you to know that there are solutions. There are big solutions that make a big change. And so our journey started when my oldest son was only 3 years old. So again, that was 17 years ago. He was a human pinball. That's the only way I can describe him. He could not sit still. He was loud. He was, as my husband says, he was just extra everything. He was just always bouncing off the walls, just all the things. And I was completely exhausted. At this time, my husband was on his 4th deployment in 3 years. I didn't have anybody to turn to. I was really lonely, and I didn't know what to do. We were advised by his preschool to get him evaluated. I will never forget that parent-teacher conference. Like, I knew as soon as they called me, I knew, right? Like, he could not sit still in the circle. Okay. If you have a kid who can't sit still in the circle, like, I feel you. And I was like, well, is it that important to sit still in the circle? I mean, like, I was still just trying to figure out all the things, And so they asked us to go get him evaluated. And at that evaluation, we were told that it was only a matter of time before he would need to be put on medication. And I remember, like, nobody offered me any solutions other than that. Nobody said, hey, like, look at his diet, or hey, read this book on parenting, or anything. Like, there was nothing other than, well, he will be on medication at some point. And to be honest, I left that appointment really angry, like really, really angry. And honestly, that is the moment that changed our lives forever. And that is when I became a mom on a mission. Like, I was determined to figure something out, because I just rejected that completely. I didn't have any smartphones. I didn't have Facebook. I had Barnes and Noble. And so that's where I went. And I started researching, like I just started looking at books in the parenting section and the health section. And the first thing that I came across was diet. And so we started putting things into, we started putting some things into practice, and we started actually seeing some differences. And that kind of like really opened my eyes to things. And then by the time my son was 8 years old, sure enough, we put him on medication. He was having trouble in school sitting still. And honestly, like I felt like my back was up against a wall, and you want your child to succeed. And so that's what we did. And guess what? He did great. Like he did great.
What do you know? Now she did say, let's just keep this in mind. She did say that this was 17 years ago, right? And so I'm assuming this is with her oldest, obviously, because she said he was 19. The stigma with a lot of mental health things, and especially with ADHD, it's not where it needs to be, but it has completely changed, right? Within the last 10 years, when, someone would be like, oh, you're on this medication, I'd be like, yeah, diagnosed with this thing. So that is one of my diagnoses, ADHD, and it's pretty common. Not the most common, but it is pretty common. And can it be misdiagnosed? Sure. But just hearing her say, like, she left the appointment angry and she like did not want to hear that. And it's like, it's okay. It's a medical diagnosis. You don't need to be like mad about it. You need to learn about it and be, understand about it. And I will say with, diet and exercise, your symptoms of ADHD or other medications, depends on who you are, but that can help a lot. Don't let your kids suffer or go untreated just because you don't want to have the kid that's on medication. Like, it's a chemical imbalance. It's fine. It's just like how if you have high blood pressure, sure, you're going to take the medicine, but yes, you're going to make other changes in your life. Or if you have something like that, right? You take medicine. It's the same thing. Finding the right one is important though, because there are some people that should not be on certain medications. Also, some people that are misdiagnosed and they abuse the medication that they shouldn't even be prescribed.
Like literally like this little light bulb, and the light just completely went out. He couldn't eat, like he wasn't hungry. His stomach was always sick, so he didn't eat. He lost a lot of weight. I even had a friend in the cafeteria. She worked in the cafeteria, and she would call me every day and say, this is what he ate today, because we were so worried about it. He had chronic headaches. He had mood swings, but he was just not himself. And it was awful. And I remember crying to my husband every night, like saying, I don't know what to do. I really don't know what to do. On one hand, like he needs to be successful in school, but on the other hand, like I cannot physically emotionally handle watching what's happening to my child. Like he's not even my child anymore. Like it's not the same person.
This might not sound like fear mongering because she's just telling her story. And I don't think she's necessarily like lying about it or like trying to be manipulative. I think she's just telling her story, because that can definitely happen. And again, I'm not a medical professional. This is not medical advice. See your doctor, go to therapy, whatever. See a psychiatrist. But with certain medications, yes, that can happen. Like a previous medication that I was on, like I could stay asleep, but I couldn't actually get to sleep. That was really hard for me. Jaw was always hurting. I would have the worst tonsil stones ever. Didn't pop up as like a symptom or anything, but I was like, that's the only thing. That like is it. And then I actually found like other people on Reddit that were like, yeah, like no one talks about this. I was like, I found my people. And then also another symptom was like I had no sex drive whatsoever. I was quick to like get mad and stuff too. But talked to my doctor, went over all of that. We took me off of it, and then we switched to a different medication. You got to find what works for you. And different people have different symptoms or side effects of medications. It's just how our bodies work. So I understand like the frustration and stuff, but like just try out a different medication.
And I just remember, like, honestly, like I stayed in that place for 3 years, like just what to do, crying, begging, praying. And so interestingly, there was a God moment that happened, and that was, he's a very gifted vocalist. He's a singer. He's very gifted. He was in a children's choir. And that, like when he was 11 years old, his choir teacher called me and said, we want to move him up to the next choir level, but I need to know if he's on medication for like ADHD. And I said, oh my goodness, yes, of course he is. Absolutely. And that's when she told me that she couldn't move him up if he was going to be medicated, because his musicianship was there, his vocal, everything was there, but they really want personality, and he had no personality. And that was like that changed everything. And I was like, that was literally like everything I knew for the past 3 years. Like I didn't want this for him was confirmed. And I literally, we took him off medications. I started looking, researching. I heard about essential oils. I bought a starter kit of oils. And then the best gift ever, I'm looking for mine, who knows where it is, the best gift ever.
We are 10 minutes into this video, And that was the first time that they mentioned essential oils. Obviously, it's like all behind them, but this entire time I was like, are they even gonna, who's gonna say it? I also am very surprised that she did actually say ADHD, because a lot of times in these calls where they make all these medical claims, right, and say that it like solved this problem, they'll be more vague because like they can get fined. They can get in a lot of trouble for saying stuff like that. So I'm really surprised that she even just said that. These Young Living ladies are yikes.
Ever. I'm looking for mine. Who knows where it is? The best gift ever came after I got that starter kit of oils, and my friend sent me this little pocket reference. And I hope you guys have one because it is like worth everything. And I was the nerd that like started flipping through it, and I started seeing like some words, like different things, like, you know, inattention and, you know, hyperactivity and things like that. And I was like, oh my goodness. And I literally sat in my bed and read this thing from cover to cover. And I know a lot of people don't do that, but I was like, oh my goodness, these might really be able to help. And so anyway, that's when we got our son back. We took him off medications. That was 8 years ago. He was 11 years old. He has been med-free since then. And last year he graduated from high school with a huge academic scholarship to his first choice college and the largest music scholarship that his school had ever given. I'm getting emotional. Okay, that is huge, guys. That is huge for a kid who couldn't function without medication to now going to college. But it doesn't stop there. It doesn't stop there because guess what? He finished his first year in college, and that was the real test, right? Like mom's not there to like say, oil this and do that. And guess what? Kept his scholarship, great grades, even away from home, under more stress than he's ever been under. And he did great. And so that's the best thing about this journey is that I did it with my kids. They have been there with me, figuring it out. They've been there like, here, try this oil, take this supplement. You know, they're having, you know, anxiety attacks or their emotions are really big. And I'm like, here, breathe this in, you know, and they know how to care for themselves now.
Here's one thing that I am seeing is that she's mixing in like the pseudoscience BS with like actual like aromatherapy techniques that work. That's a big medical claim that it's like my kid had been on this medication for 2 years and he was like diagnosed back then when he was like super little. And it's like, well, sometimes kids are just hyper. One of my nephews is bouncing off the walls and never runs out of energy. Yeah, I don't think he has ADHD. I just think he's hyper. Like that just, sometimes that happens. Again, not trying to like diminish or invalidate her like struggle. And of course, let me just go ahead and give the disclaimer that I usually give in my videos now, that I don't know these people. This is not about them. If they are saying it in a video, it has been said thousands of other times by other MLM reps. They're just an example. I don't need to know them. I don't need to know anything about them. It's just about the lies, the manipulation, the cult-ish stuff. Also, Wiggum is snoring behind me now, so you may hear him.
Know which oils work for them, which oils that they feel better with. They know which supplements make them feel better. And there's so much hope. And one of the most rewarding things about all of this is, honestly, it's been a painful journey. There's been so much pain in this. There's been a lot of mom guilt. There's been so much there. But the best thing about all of this is that I know that my grandchildren my kids have a bigger leg up, right? My kids already know the things that it took me 17 years to figure out. And then their kids are going to start in a completely different place than where my kids started. And so I just want to tell you guys, there's so much hope out there. Like 17 years of this, I can tell you that there is so much hope. And so I see Sabrina saying like, we are fearfully and wonderfully made. And I am a Christian. And I just have to say like, that is something that got me through. Like, I truly believe that my son was given the personality that he was given on purpose. He spent the entire summer as a summer camp counselor. Guess what he was? He was the hype guy. He was the guy like getting everybody excited and hyping everybody up. Like, you know, there's like, he has that. So tonight I want to just share with you guys, I'm going to break this into 2 different categories. The first one is going to be quick wins, because sometimes when we're in that place of we're getting the calls from the teachers, we're seeing our kids struggle in certain areas, and we need something now. Like, right, we don't have 6 months to make all the changes. We need like a big change now. So I'm going to give you a list of things that you're going to see changes immediately. And then I'm going to give you some things that to work on that go deeper to the root cause of things that we need to change on a long-term basis.
The root cause of what? Of anxiety and ADHD? Baby, that's a chemical imbalance in your brain. If your brain doesn't make those certain chemicals or do something, store-bought is just fine. So we're hearing like and she even said like mom guilt, which I don't think she's necessarily like trying to like guilt moms. That doesn't mean that she's not like using that in this call as well to manipulate people. And something I just wrote down was bits of truth surrounded by lies, which makes it easier to believe the lies, especially when you're hearing an emotional story that you can relate to. Because I'm assuming most of these people are moms, right? And you want to set up your kids for success and all that, and give them the tools to be able to overcome things that they're dealing with. I'm right there with you. I'm happy that if we ever do reproduce, that our kids will be taught by me how to, or rather be taught tools that they can, or if they don't want to, they don't have to, but that they can use to calm themselves down, to think rationally, to just to cope with whatever they're dealing with much easier. And I learned all that in therapies and treatment and stuff like that. So like, yeah, I mean, that tugs at the heartstrings. I want to be able to teach my kids stuff. I get it, so that they can, have a better life than I did, or like an easier go at it or whatever. But yeah, I'm not saying that like alternative methods don't work, but it's not going to work as well as actual medicine.
Here's some quick wins. Okay. So the first thing is, if you have a kid struggling in school, please feed them a high protein, high fat breakfast. They need to not have that cereal, sugar, carb load first thing in the morning. They need the sustained energy from that protein and that fat to get them through the morning. I know with us, we needed that high protein, high fat breakfast to get them to lunch, right? Like we needed that, got them to lunch, because a lot of times they'll hit like 10 a.m. and they're like in full crash mode, but guess what? They're not adults. Like we could crash, right? They have to keep it together. They're in a classroom. They're expected to keep it together. And like, that's when all that anxiety kicks in and they're just like barely hanging on for dear life. And so I really, really believe you've got to give them a high protein, high fat breakfast just to help get them through their morning, give them that sustained energy. And again, snacks, high protein snacks. One of our favorite snacks is Chomp's beef sticks. We love them. They're Whole30 approved. They're wonderful. So high protein, high fat snacks and breakfast. Okay.
Why do you care if something's Whole30 approved? Like, what are you doing? Is Whole30 Beachbody? Okay, no. Yeah, this doesn't have anything to do with Beachbody. Never mind. Basically saying that like eating cereal for breakfast is like gonna cause you to crash, which it can, sure. I personally like almost never ate breakfast when I was in high school, unless I went to Chick-fil-A and got chicken minis. That was my jam. I usually crashed after lunch. I didn't crash before lunch. I also usually didn't eat lunch. Unless like Tony brought me lunch, but I had him do that like 3 times. And then he was like, I'm not leaving my college classes to drive to your high school and get you food. And then I was like, but I want payway. Yeah, it's just interesting that she's like, and then that's when anxiety kicks in. And it's like, not always. And I never experienced that because I'm about to fall asleep in class. No, I just got tired.
Brain food. Okay, I'm saying brain food, but this is something else that's going to give you you're going to see it immediately. So there's an article about brain starvation. 60% of the human brain is made up of fat. And 30% of that fat is in the forebrain. So it is very important that they get a lot of fat. Boys typically have a 3 times higher need for essential fatty acids than girls do. And a lot of that is possible because estrogen is a fatty carrier and testosterone is not. So that's where that fat comes in. As far as feeding the brain, 2 of my favorite supplements that made a huge, huge difference for us are Nitro and MindWise. Nitro comes in these little tubes. It's got about 30 milligrams of caffeine. And for the longest time, I thought that's what it was because, it must be the caffeine because, like if your kid is on medication, that's possible they're on stimulants and caffeine is a stimulant. So, but guess what? I did some research and there's some amazing things in Nitro for cognitive support. Okay, so Korean ginseng, B vitamins, choline, it supports the body's ability to make and retain memories.
Hold your horses. I knew that I had heard that before. I was like, where have I heard like brain starvation or like starved brain? So it's cerebral atrophy, also known as brain starvation or a starved brain. And it's a very, very common complication or side effect, symptom, complication of anorexia. So basically your brain is shrinking or losing mass due to starvation, due to you not putting enough nutrients or what your body needs into your body. That's why a lot of times when you see people who are very unwell, to that point of, that severe anorexia, for instance. And no, I will never do a video on her because it's far too triggering for me to even look at a picture of her. Eugenia Cooney. I don't suggest you watch her videos, but if you ever have, and especially in the last year, because she's getting worse and worse, she is anorexic. That is a fact. She could be bulimic, but I'm pretty sure she's anorexic. There have been many times that during streams, she cannot put together a sentence. And no, I'm not a psychiatrist. No, I'm not a psychologist. No, I'm not with her. No, I'm not a medical professional. But in my opinion, that's why. Because clearly her body is shutting down. Okay, let's go to Healthline because I trust them more. The brain is an organ, and a very unusual and complex one at that. You got that right. It plays a role in every one of our functions, controlling many of our organs, our thoughts, memory, speech, and movement. At birth, the average brain weighs 1 pound and increases at approximately 3 pounds by adulthood. Then why is our head so heavy? The majority of that weight, 85% of it, is the cerebrum, which is divided into 2 halves. Your brain also contains cells, nerves, fibers, arteries, and it also contains fat and is the fattiest organ in the body, nearly 60% of fat. That's cool. I got a fat brain.
Choline, which it supports the body's ability to make and retain memories. And then there's an nitro alert blend that has essential oils that support the adrenal system, which is that fight or flight system that's turned on too much when we have too much stress and even exposure to screens. So this is a phenomenal supplement.
I know she said screens, but at first I thought she said too much exposure to screams, like people screaming at you. Fight or fight mode, really, if I'm getting screamed at.
The other one is MindWise, and MindWise contains a high proportion of unsaturated fatty acids and omega-3 fatty acids. And it also has some other things like CoQ10 that are known for their cognitive promoting properties. So I'm going to tell you what we did. We would feed our kids a high protein, high fat breakfast. And then guess what they got at lunch? They got a shot of nitro and MindWise at the same time. And I am also someone that struggles midday with focus. And I can tell you what, I feel it kicking in. It changes my entire afternoon. So those are 2 supplements that I highly recommend that you are going to see big changes. I know a lot of moms that even give their kids nitro first thing in the morning. So it's just, you got to play around with what works for them. The next big win is going to be essential oils. So,
okay, so I stand corrected. This entire call is to sell these products to these women, or to get them to sign up so that they can feed their kids these things. I am so happy that my mom was like, "What do you want for breakfast? Eggos?" Okay, cool.
That's where we started. There's a lot of things, I'm not going to really go into that, but we have seen major results with essential oils. So some of our favorites are vetiver, Genius, Brain Power, Clarity, and Peppermint. To this day, my son's favorite oil is peppermint. Favorite. If he's feeling kind of slumpy, like he cannot focus, he puts a drop of peppermint on his tongue. We always diffuse peppermint and stress away while we're doing schoolwork or during homework time. We always diffuse all of that together, peppermint and stress away, kind of like brings you to life, but also not in a stressful way, Genius is, in my opinion, one of the best oils for this. It is, if you look at the ingredients on it, like vetiver is phenomenal for focus, but Genius has vetiver and sacred frankincense and royal Hawaiian sandalwood and all of these oils that are really known to really support the brain. And so those are some of my favorite oils that we put a roller top on the Genius and roll it on the back of their necks, roll it on their shoulders. My sister, her son would go to school and she would put vetiver on his buttonholes of his shirt so he could smell that vetiver all day long.
Ugh, stinky kids y'all got. Gross. Ugh, what's that smell? Oh, that's Braxley. His mom puts essential oils on his buttons. Like, ugh, poor Braxley. I don't know how many times I have to say it. Probably 1 million more in my lifetime. Essential oils, it's just aromatherapy. It's not going to help you focus. It's not going to cure or treat anything. It's going to make you feel good. Not always, but possibly. I love aromatherapy. It's wonderful. They're not going to help you focus. They're not no, that's not how that works. And I am by no means saying that aromatherapy is a scam. No, if you are actually being transparent and honest, no, it can do good things for you. It can make you feel good, but that's it.
That's an amazing oil. Okay. Another big win, help for meltdowns, because usually kids who have trouble with the focus situation, it's not just focus, right? Like they're also expected to keep it together a lot. And there's a lot of emotions and a lot of meltdowns and anxiety and all of the things. Those oils that I was saying were vetiver, genius is my favorite. It's my all-time favorite. Brain power, clarity, and peppermint. I love to put clarity right on the top of my head. Like I will literally do an Mindwise, nitro, and clarity on my head. Well, nitro and Mindwise down the hatch, clarity on the head. It's like, woo, came to life. So help for meltdowns. One of my favorite things is Unwind. I think we've talked about this so many times in the class, but
do not ingest essential oils. I don't know how Young Living is getting away with this. They have been warned and told many times that they need to advise people to not ingest essential oils, and their people are still doing it. Now, the thing is to get around that, like a specific essential oil that like you can ingest. But the thing is that it's the exact same thing as their normal oils that you're not supposed to ingest. There's no difference, just the label is different. And I actually asked them specifically when I did my deep dive video on Young Living. They told me, no, there's no difference at all. It's just a different label. It's the same exact ingredients. It can destroy your esophagus and your insides. Do not ingest essential oils. You're just supposed to smell them, please.
Unwind is an amazing supplement that I'm going to talk about in a little bit. But one of our favorite oils is grounding. So whenever my son would get like really worked up, I'm telling you, this was what made my husband a huge believer in essential oils. He got to the point where he was like, where's the grounding? Have you gotten the grounding out? He needs the grounding. And what I would do is like, if he was really worked up and could not calm down, like, I mean, he would get that way. Like he just could not calm down. There's no talking that was going to happen. And I would put a couple drops of grounding in his hand and he would rub them together and breathe them in and then roll and then put his hands like on his neck or wherever and rub that grounding in. And within 2 minutes, he was calm, rational. We could have a normal conversation. It is an amazing, amazing oil that helped us so much. Two others are Stress Away, Peace and Calming.
That sounds like the placebo effect. It sounds like he was just taking deep breaths. I bet you if I just got in the shower and started doing deep breaths, I'd be fine as well. It's a bunch of hoopla, okay? I'm gonna sound so mean saying this, but it really sounds like you just need to teach your kids DBT. Dialectical behavioral therapy. I always want to say diabolical, but that saved my life. Sounds like that's what your kids need. Use those self-soothing techniques, and hey, that is one, I understand, but it doesn't have to be Young Living. It's the breathing that's helping him. It's not the essential oil.
My younger son doesn't really have trouble in the focus department, but he does get stressed out easily. He holds a lot of things inside of him. My older son is the one that everything comes out, and my younger son is the one that like it all just stays in. And Stress Away is his oil. It's like it just melts that stress away. And so he will diffuse that at night. We put it on him, like all of the things. So those are some of those quick wins that you're going to see. You get those oils out, you're going to see something happen. You take that nitro and Mindwise, you're going to see something happen.
It sounds like I'm mom shaming, and I'm really not trying to, because obviously I don't have any kids, but like I have been through these things that she's describing, and like I've experienced those things firsthand. From what she's saying, like, just let your kids go to therapy. Like, just send them to therapy. Like, find a good therapist that like you both like, or rather that just they like, because it really doesn't matter if you like them, and go to therapy. Like,
give them that high fat, high protein breakfast. You're going to see a difference. Okay, so let's talk about some root causes really quickly. The first one would be gut health. There's a huge connection between the brain and the gut. Your gut is also known as your second brain. And like I mentioned earlier, I think there is such a thing as brain starvation. And there's some signs of brain starvation like hyperactivity, ADD, impulsivity, anxiety, anger, sleep issues. Those are all signs of brain starvation. So some things that you need to do probably is, like I said, again, high protein, high fat.
I don't know where she's getting that information, but it doesn't sound right. Because like I got like a handful of the stuff she just said, and like my brain is fat. Like my brain's good. She thick. Maybe she said like a statistic that is right, that she did cite correctly. But then I feel like the other things that she's saying isn't necessarily true.
Please, 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 if you have a kid struggling with this, please get rid of the artificial colors in their diets. It is the number one thing I say to everybody. It's the place where we started when my son was 3. That was the book we found. It was all about diet. It was artificial flavorings, coloring, sweeteners. It is literal poison. If you do the research and you look and see what that does, it literally has an impact on their neurological system. And so if there's one thing you do tonight, just kick all of that out of your house. You will see a difference in your kid within 5 days.
Girl, what? Well, a quick Google answered that for me. So sick of the type of people in multiple marketing companies. Not only that, but with like diet culture. Oh, well, stevia or artificial sweeteners or blah, blah, blah. Like that causes cancer. That like is the root of all your issues. And it's like, no, it's not. Like taking just that out isn't going to change that much. And then also the artificial coloring like is linked to hyperactivity. Well, per the FDA, scientificamerican.com, the FDA convened a Food Advisory Committee meeting in 2011 to review the existing research and concluded that there was not sufficient evidence proving that foods with artificial colors caused hyperactivity. Like it's just so, it's wild. The fear mongering that goes into this is absolutely insane.
Artificial, you will see a difference in your kid within 5 days if you get rid of it completely. We did.
Yeah, they're going to hate you. They're going to be really annoyed. Absolutely. They're going to be mad.
Add in high protein, high fat, and then you might want to start looking at food sensitivities with your doctor or whoever you see. That is something. Gluten, if your child has a gluten sensitivity, like there's definitely a thing, like brain fog definitely comes with that. There's a lot of kids that don't really have ADHD, they have a gluten sensitivity. So that's a thing too.
That's really dangerous that she just said that. I feel like not only, do I have ADHD, but I also do have a gluten sensitivity. I would say like maybe be like, oh, you don't have, IBS, you have a gluten sensitivity, right? Like I'd say like those two things correlating, but I wouldn't say that it's ADHD or a gluten sensitivity.
Okay, so some products to help with gut balance or with gut health. Number one is probiotics, Life 9 or Mighty Pro. We use a lot of Life 9. My kids are older, but my younger son loves Mighty Pro. But Life 9 is a phenomenal probiotic that we all take. Ningxia Red. So a lot of these kids, they don't they're really picky, okay? It's hard to get all the good stuff in them. And Ningxia Red, in my opinion, everybody should be drinking Ningxia Red. We go through a lot of Ningxia Red in our house. It's a whole food nutrient-dense supplement. It has like so many vitamins, minerals, amino acids, antioxidants. It is fabulous for brain health.
I've said it so many times, but if you don't have a deficiency of like a certain, like I have to take an iron supplement because I do have an iron deficiency and like a few other things. But if you don't have that and you're like, if you don't have a vitamin B deficiency and your body is, meaning your body is not already creating what it needs to, you taking more vitamin B isn't going to like do good for you. It's not how that works. Get blood work done, get a physical, talk to your doctor and see, hey, do I have like any type of deficiency or am I, lacking in any areas? Okay, then let's get a vitamin regimen. But yeah, I would say you should take a probiotic. I take a probiotic. Also, one thing to mention too is that, again, you can get all these things for much more affordable cost, literally at Target. Not sponsored by Target, obviously, but like you can just go get them for way more of an affordable price somewhere closer to you, and you don't have to support a cult. Like
sustained energy, which is one of those things. So we always drink Ningxia Red first thing in the morning. So that might be one thing that you could give your kids. Like if you're giving them eggs and bacon in the morning with a Ningxia Red, like they are good to go. Next, enzymes. Enzymes are so important because a lot of our current agricultural farming practices has depleted our soil so much that we don't get the enzymes that we really need from our food. And those enzymes are important for every cellular function in the body. A lot of that is digestion. So you probably should look at enzymes. I think there's KidSense Mightyzyme for younger kids. We like Essential Zyme, and one of my other favorites is Essential Zymes 4. Those are some of my favorites. But if you're really just trying to support that gut, Life 9, Ningxia Red, and enzymes are huge. Okay, sleep. Here's another root cause, sleep. So we talked about gut health. Next thing is sleep.
So I have some questions. Well, a question and a statement, or 4. What are her qualifications? What are her qualifications? Because if she had any, she would have said them. But all she said is that she's a homeschool mom. You're not a dietitian. You're not a nutritionist. You're none of that. So I'm not going to listen to you. But don't just take advice from anyone, please. Especially when it has to do with your body and like your life and what you're putting into your body or your face or on your body. It just anything. I feel like she just looked on like a wiki how.
Heavily impact their focus and their behavior during the day. So one of the things that I will scream this like far and wide is magnesium. Magnesium is extremely important and everybody has a magnesium deficiency. And so one of my favorite things to do is create a routine at night one of those would be like to take a detox bath with essential oils. And what I mean by that is plain Epsom salts without like any scents. Don't buy the lavender Epsom salts from Walmart. Buy the plain Epsom salts. They're literally magnesium. Choose their favorite oil. Stress Away, Peace and Calming, Lavender, Kid Power. I forgot to mention Kid Power, y'all. Oh my word. Kid Power was on that list that I went over earlier. Oh my goodness, it's an amazing oil.
According to Healthline.com, while some older research suggests that 48% of Americans are not getting enough magnesium, true magnesium deficiencies are not very common. Less than 2%, according to one estimate. The symptoms of magnesium deficiency are usually subtle unless your levels become severely low, like fatigue. Asking what percentage of people have a magnesium deficiency, and again, magnesium deficiency, also known as hypomagnesemia, is an often overlooked health problem. While less than 2% of Americans have been estimated to experience magnesium deficiency, that percentage has been shown to be far greater in hospital and ICU patients and people with diabetes or alcohol use disorder. Cool. So she said everyone has it, and she's wrong.
Put a few drops in Epsom salt and let them soak, wind down. And then we also love Unwind. Remember I was talking about KidSense Unwind? Oh my goodness, not just for kids, y'all. Not just for kids. I love this supplement so much. I take it a lot. It helps when I'm overwhelmed, when I feel like I can't calm down. And it has L-theanine in it, which promotes relaxation. It decreases irritability, and it helps improve clarity and focus. It also has magnesium in it, and it has 5-HTP, which promotes a calm state and relieves stress. It is phenomenal. Okay. And so I would say give it to them at night if they can't sleep, or in the day if they're having a hard time. If they're having a hard time emotionally, pop and Unwind. Okay. Like it's the best stuff. You can do it at night. It's not going to necessarily put them to sleep. It's going to calm them down. It's going to get them into that mode.
My Lord. Again, if you are this dependent on, as it seems like her and her family are, on essential oils, please go to therapy. Please see your primary care physician and figure out what's going on, because this is ridiculous.
And then also sleep oils, the same oils that I mentioned, Stress Away, Peace and Calming, Lavender, Kid Power, all of those oils, diffuse them at night. I like to I make up, like for my younger son. My older son, he just does his own thing now. But for my younger son, like I literally like make up a pitcher of oils at the beginning of the week, and he just pours it in every night, pours in his oils. You can make a spray bottle to spritz the pillow. There's also the KidSense, the baby one. I don't remember what it's called, but the linen spray, that stuff is amazing, but I am lazy. And so I literally salt and pepper shake my oils on my pillows at night. And so I give my kids tools so that if they wake up in the middle of the night and they can't go back to sleep, guess what? They can spray their pillow down or put a couple drops of oil on their pillow, or they can grab a roller that they have in their room, make them a roller. Again, Valor, Kid Power, Stress Away, Peace and Calming, Lavender, Cedarwood. These are all great oils that are helpful for sleep. If you are doing all those things and there's a lot of trouble there with getting them to go to sleep. EmuPower is one of my favorite, EmuPro. EmuPro is one of my favorite supplements. It has 4.2 milligrams of melatonin in it, but it's also really great for the immune system. And what I love about it is it's chewable. So you can break it into half, you can break it into fourths and give them just a little bit of it, or you can give them the whole thing, just totally up to you. For me, we never gave our kids melatonin for more than 3 days in a row, but every now and then we felt like we needed to reset their sleep cycle. And so we would give them, melatonin for a few nights in a row.
Another thing you can do is get their energy out before they go to bed, or have them stretch before they go to bed, or turn off all the lights and put their phones or screens or electronics, whatever, make sure they turn them off before they go to bed. Literally make them tired. I used to have the hardest time going to sleep, and then it would be time for me to go to sleep because I would do all these things. Or I have an idea, just give them melatonin. Who cares?
Thing that I'm going to mention as far as root cause, and this is an easy one to do, is ditching the toxins that are in your home. The thing that got me started with Young Living was actually just replacing fragrance in my home. I was desperate. We had already decided to take my son off of medication. I'm homeschooling him, and I'm like, I don't know, this kid, I'm going to tell you what, I can't count how many chairs he's broken in our house, and not because on purpose, but because he was impulsive and he would just fall out of his chairs. And he's broken so many chairs. And I'm like, what am I going to do with this child? And I read this article about artificial fragrance and how sometimes those plugins and those candles mimic ADHD symptoms in children. Oh my word, what are we doing? Are you kidding me? And so I immediately called my friend and was like, okay, give me the oils. And because I knew I needed something to replace them because I wanted something. And so it wasn't to help him with ADHD. It was just to like get all that stuff out of my house. So anything with artificial fragrance, replace it with essential oils, get those diffusers going. If you're not already a Young Living customer, the best thing I think is that starter bundle that has like 12 oils in a diffuser. Get that sucker in your house and just go to town. Cleaners. You can replace every cleaner in your house with Thieves Cleaner. Your laundry detergent, replace your laundry detergent with Thieves Laundry Detergent. Just get those fragrances out. Can you imagine sending your child to school and you've oiled them up and you've given them their protein breakfast and you've done all these things and they're sitting there in their Tide wash laundry detergent, dried in Mountain Spring Downy. And what are they smelling?
You can be hypersensitive when you do have ADHD. For instance, with sounds, it's like really something with me. And then with smells, sometimes as well, like there's some smells that I just like cannot be around. But the way she phrased it was those things can mimic like symptoms of ADHD, like in our kids, which makes it sound like those things can make them worse. That's not the case at all. I hear that she keeps saying like, well, I read an article, and it's like, did you just stop after that one article? Did you ask your kid's psychiatrist? I mean, if they have ADHD, I hope they have a psychiatrist or a doctor that they see. Did you ask your doctor? Did you ask a professional, or are you just going to keep going off of like one article here and there that you read? Like not every bit of information you read on the internet is accurate. She even just said like, oh my God, what are we doing, girl? I don't know what you're doing. Believing every little thing you read because you're terrified? Oh my, it's this woman. Her friend that was trying to get her to sign up for Young Living was that person most likely sent that to her. Again, I don't know, but like that is a fear-mongering tactic right there. You know who is obsessed with candles? This person. You know who is obsessed with having their house smell delicious? Me and the other person who lives here. Like, I don't know why I just said it like that. That's my husband. Artificial smells are not going to cause or make your ADHD worse. This is awful. What do you know? The starter bundle is the best one to use, because if you don't and you use candles or Glade or Febreze plugins, you're going to give your kids illnesses.
You can replace every cleaner in your house with Thieves Cleaner. Your laundry detergent, replace your laundry detergent with Thieves Laundry Detergent. Just get those fragrances out. Can you imagine sending your child to school and you've oiled them up and you've given them their protein breakfast and you've done all these things and they're sitting there in their Tide wash laundry detergent, dried in Mountain Spring Downy. And what are they smelling? I mean, it's just so distracting and it's just so overwhelming for their neurological system. So those are just a few things that we've done. Hopefully that wasn't too overwhelming. I hope that you've heard some things in there that you're like, okay, we're going to try that. So like I said, you could just be wanting to help your kid have a great day with school, get some oils on them, or you might be like, we need some serious changes right now. And so I'm here to tell you, these are like, your life will change. You will see huge changes in your children.
Thank you so much, Kim. So good. And I see so much of the me too kind of comments in here, because whether it's you, maybe everything that's being described is not your kids. Maybe it's you, and you don't have to be 10. It just may be that as an adult, it functions a little bit differently because you're not trying to sit behind a desk because if your job is different, or you're not having to get an A on a test or whatever, but you may feel exactly like what she's describing in her child. And it's so interesting.
That was atrocious. That was absolutely just the worst. The fact that she just finally was like, you have to replace all of your home products or else your child is not only going to develop ADHD and break all the furniture in your home and just be crying constantly, but also they're going to like get worse. Yeah, and it's going to be your fault. And they're going to be distracted at school because of their Tide clothing. Like how strong do y'all think that like laundry detergent is? You can get stuff that doesn't smell. Yeah, this is way too long, so we're speeding it up again to 1.5 speed now.
Me too kind of comments in here, because whether it's you, maybe everything that's being described is not your kids. Maybe it's you, and you don't have to be 10. It just may be that as an adult, it functions a little bit differently because you're not trying to sit behind a desk because if your job is different, or you're not having to get an A on a test or whatever, but you may feel exactly like what she's describing in her child. And it's so interesting. There are a lot of people, and I don't know if this is any of you, but trying to function as an adult when you're still dealing with those kind of ADD, ADHD tendencies is really lonely for a lot of people and really difficult. And they feel like it's something they should have moved past. And they feel like it's something that keeps them from even it like hurts them in relationships, hurts them in jobs, hurts them in situations where they feel kind of like other adults are doing things a certain way and like they can't make their brain do what the other adults are doing, kind of a deal. And I've heard all through the years of working on this oil in this oil world, in this health world, I've heard so many people tell me that. And they're like, it's hard. It's still hard. And people act like it's not now that we're grown up, and it's still really hard. And so just know that
Who thinks like that? The thing is that the more you educate yourself about your diagnosis, and maybe if people don't get why you do certain things or act a certain way, learn more about your own diagnosis, educate yourself, get into therapy. Like, if you feel alone in something and don't know how to cope with it, go to therapy, go see a professional and figure your out. Like,
well, and you can begin to create those routines and habits for yourself and begin to remove some of that load that your poor body is trying to fight through and figure out how to function and all of those things. So okay, a lot of what Kim already talked about is on my list. And so I'm going to move through some things pretty quickly because she did such a great job of covering it. But I also just kind of want to move through a few more and also just go back over it again, because repetition helps us, especially if the reason we're here is that our brain doesn't work. So it helps us just to do it one more time. But as always, when we're going through things like this, just a reminder, if you're adjusting medications, if you're changing things over, do that carefully, do it with, all of the appropriate input or whatever, but just realize that so much is possible. And there is never a time where someone is past helping, even in advanced stages of brain deterioration or of things having shifted and your brain not been nourished. It is incredible of the recovery your brain is capable of if given what it needs. So if you find yourself way down the road of this process, just know, we've even seen incredible things where people down the road of like Alzheimer's, dementia, things like that, where there is a lot of breakdown and you start to actually nourish the brain.
No, she did not. Did she just have the audacity to say that Young Living products, Young Living supplements can treat dementia, brain deterioration, and Alzheimer's? I know I have to be hearing things. I will not accept that. That is straight to jail. Straight to jail, not even jail, prison. Straight to prison, ma'am. I am 100% reporting her to the FTC tonight. Absolutely. And you know what? Y'all are more than welcome to as well. Send them this video. And I kind of feel like doing it, including their names in it, but I don't care because that is awful. Giving people false hope like that they can buy this and then give it to their family members, their parents, their siblings, their spouses who are experiencing dementia or, they're going through it with Alzheimer's. Like, I'm just going to press play, because if I say anything else, I'm going to get demonetized.
Also with decreasing toxic load, there's just a lot
toxic load. You're a toxic load.
Being researched around some of those things that we dread and honestly fear as we get older, being very, very connected to the toxic load on our bodies, to the aluminum in our deodorants, to the things that we're eating and the things that we're putting in our skincare products, to the things that we're breathing. And so this is a major, major investment in our own futures, in our parents, in the way our life is going to look. Because if you think you're in a certain place now,
just more health-related fear-mongering, like everything causes cancer. Being alive causes cancer. And just live your life. Don't stop doing what you want to do just because you think, oh my God, using this deodorant is going to give me armpit cancer, or using this is going to kill me, or using this is going to make my butthole fall out. Like, obviously, yes, don't do anything in excess. Try to be healthy, move your body, work out, take care of yourself mentally as well, be nice to yourself. But being that like nitpicky is just going to make you a miserable person, not only in general, but to be around. And you're living in fear. Calm down. Put on the Dove or Secret shampoo or deodorant. It's fine.
Look, because if you think you're in a certain place now, then you just keep compounding that if the brain doesn't get nourished over the coming years. And eventually, what does it have left to operate on? So this is just incredibly, incredibly crucial. One thing that I want to point out in terms of feeding the brain is water. So we talk a lot about food, but the other piece with the brain is water and hydration. And so it is very, very difficult. Your dehydration will shut down your brain function. And there are a lot of people that are drinking everything but water, are doing all the things, not hydrating, but then also what water we're drinking. So there has been extensive research done. Like there was a combined study with the China Medical University and the Harvard School of Public Health, combined 27 studies finding strong indications that fluoride in our water was adversely affecting the cognitive development of children. We have seen this over and over again. We have seen the plastics and all the things that are leaching into our water being such an issue. Get yourself a filter. Get yourselves bottles that you can reuse that are not putting plastics and things like that into your water, and get water, good water in you and your kids. This is really, really important. Get you some vitality drops. We've got, get some lemon essential oil in there, get some of those lavender lemonade vitality drops in there with the electrolytes, but get some water in yourself and your kids that is good, high quality. And also while you're filtering out the fluoride, check your toothpaste and make sure it's not in there either. Not what our brains need. And then also with nutrition, just remember again that your body needs that fuel, needs those things. And unfortunately, the food that is marketed to children.
Before we get into the food that's marketed to children, God forbid, clean water is a basic human right. It's expected, right? When you live in America or a country like this where, our government is supposed to provide that for you and not be poisoning you. Yeah, you need to drink water. That's important. But again, it's the fear mongering of your fluoride is killing you. You shouldn't have that in your toothpaste, and you should see a holistic whoever. Y'all's teeth are going to fall out and be dirty and crusty, just like all the scary dreams I have where all my teeth are falling out because I'm stressed out.
Absolute worst food that exists on the planet. It is incredibly high carb and incredibly high sugar. And that honestly is something that makes me about as angry as anything else does, is just the fact that of all, and same with like personal care products and the body glitter and all the kind of thing. It's like, if it's marketed at kids, it is going to be the worst of the worst of the worst of the worst of the worst, full of color, dye, sugar, carb, everything. Go look at a kid's menu, go look at nitrates, like just everything is what we are going to target kids.
Like you could just cook at home and like, then you're in charge of like what your kids are eating. Yeah, don't eat like all of the carbs, obviously, be, everything in moderation and balance, but like carbs aren't going to kill you, buddy. This could have been an email that y'all just don't know anything about anything, basically, and just like fear mongering. Like, I read one article. I watched this guy on TikTok and he told me my dentist is trying to kill me and bread's gonna make me die. My Lord.
Going to target kids. And it's interesting because I think that we have gotten to this place as a society where we just like assume that kids don't like good food, and that's not true. We have trained them not to like good food. And it's not that they can't be picky. They are picky. It's not that they don't go through phases, but kids who have eaten good food like good food. They like the way that it tastes. And we are, just like with the other products in our bodies, we are the gatekeepers of our homes. We are the ones buying the food. And I know that there are situations where they are, at school and other places, and that's less in our control, but we can control what is in our home.
So you just contradicted yourself. Like, you're trying to fear monger and be like, food industry is trying to make your kid fat, but then it's like, all right, well, if your kid doesn't have money, if you don't buy it for them and don't feed it to them, they're not going to eat it, like within a certain extent. But like, ma'am, what do you do? Like, what are you doing? She's fear mongering, but then also guilting people too. Yeah, I mean, like, if you try to make your kids like something and they just don't like it, like, it's okay.
And when you teach your kids to eat good quality fats and those things, they learn to understand how they feel when they do that, and that their brain works, and they associate those things and they want that feeling. Even a very young child can understand that they feel better when they eat better. And it's not that they won't ever do the other, and that's okay. We all make exceptions and all of those things. But if it becomes their norm, then it becomes recognizable to them. I ate all that. I felt like junk all day. I couldn't pay attention. That stuff starts to click for them. And far more than me wanting to teach my kids that there's some big list of like yes food and no food and shame and like all these things, I want my kids to see the connection and the correlation between how they feel and how they think and what they ate and put into their bodies and used. And as my kids become teenagers, I am seeing that. And I'm so grateful that they are kind of noticing and learning and all of that. My 18-year-old was just gone for a little bit and he came back, and it was just interesting. He told me all about, what he ate and what he did. It was different than at home, but I saw where he tried to make educated choices so he could function well. He also came home and was like, Mom, so I did my clothes at the laundromat, and like, can you fix them? Because they smell like chemicals, and can you fix my clothes, please? Like, he was like, these are my dirty clothes, but can you fix all the clothes, like the clean clothes and everything, because they're broken. And I thought it was so cute that he was like, please fix the problem that the laundry detergent has caused. I was like, yes, babe, I can fix them. It may take a few loads, but I can get them fixed. And so it's, again, he's recognizing he doesn't want to sit in that smell.
What type of laundry detergent are y'all maybe I'm just like, we just use Tide Pods. I don't know, maybe I'm like used to it, but it doesn't smell chemical. Like, it doesn't smell like chemicals, which everything's a chemical. Water is a chemical, but like, it doesn't smell like, you know, like cleaning products or like those things, or like ammonia or something. Let your kid eat Gushers. Let your kid have a candle, okay?
He doesn't want to sit in that onslaught. And that is, man, that is where I want us to be. Like, none of these choices about nourishing our brain or any of the health choices, you guys know, we're never here about like shame and get it fixed and you're doing it wrong. It's about, man, we want you to come in and try this and feel how different it is. Feel the way that you function on a completely different level and not have much rules, but just never want to go back to where you were before.
I love how she's like, and we're not shaming you, and sure, it's not, you know, outright like, you're a horrible mom, you shouldn't do this, blah, 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 but like, it's that covert shaming of like, if you don't change these things, you're going to cause this to happen in your household and in your kids.
Because that is where we are. We're in that place where we're not like going down our checklist of, I made sure I used all my company's, you know, products, or I made sure I didn't have any of this, or this. I just am doing the things that make my family feel better. So, you know, just really, really focusing. A lot of times, one of the things I think we can do is focus on like what I can't have. And with your nutrition, the best thing you can do is focus on what you want to get in, and that will crowd out what you want to not have. Does that make sense? So if you really focus on crowding into your kids' diet and your diet, those good fats and that good nutrition, the ningxia red, the, you know, get the good protein and fats in for breakfast, they're just not sitting there with their carbs burned through in 5 minutes looking for something to get their blood sugar back up. Neither are you. And that starts to naturally help you to make better choices. Some great things that you can do is, you know, we have our power meal, which is an amazing meal replacement shake that will get protein in you, help balance your blood sugar. It's very low sugar. That's a newer product we have. That's an incredible way to like make a drink and have something and fill yourself back up. We have our, again, the MindWise is going to get you the good fat.
You should never use a shake, a milkshake, a meal replacement, whatever. No, but maybe for like a snack or something, or if you feel like you maybe, you know, didn't get in enough calories for the day and like you had like a crazy workout or something, I could see that, but never as just like a replacement. Like, that's not okay. That is unhealthy. That is not okay physically or mentally at all.
Good fats. We've got Pure Protein Complete, which also has quite a bit of protein. Ningxia Red, which is going to get that nutrition into you. Just focus on filling up everywhere that you can with those good things. We have our new Ningxia greens, which are incredible. You can add those into your smoothies and your drink. That's going to help balance your blood sugar. It's going to help give you the things that you need. There's fiber in some of those drinks. There are enzymes in them. Just a lot of good things to pack in and get yourself some fruits and veggies and all the good stuff in your protein, and get some fat in there. Throw some extra coconut oil in there, whatever you want to do. But make sure, you know, that's a great way to just drink down some good stuff. I do that a lot with toddlers because you can get a lot into a toddler who can't eat a high amount with a smoothie like that, and they will down it and have so much good stuff and run so well on something like that, and they love it. Keeping your blood sugar balanced.
And you should just go see a doctor and not listen to anything that this person says, because they're just trying to sell you their pyramid scheme products, and that's it. Like, what are y'all talking about? Do you think they understand how, I don't want to use the word crazy, but do you think they understand how ridiculous they sound? Like, they sound absolutely ridiculous saying this type of stuff. It's funny that she's like, they learned how to love these oils and the smell of them. Yeah, I like, you know, lavender smells and I like eucalyptus, but I'm going to get a candle that smells like that. I'm not going to start drinking or rubbing it all over me. Like, that's a little ridiculous.
Let's give them those things they can take to school and smell. Or, and the same for us, just really freeing ourselves from the stuff that's in our cars and the stuff that's in our houses and on our clothes and all of those kinds of things, getting it out of the way and giving us that ability to think. A couple of other things that you might not think about in terms of your brain and giving it what it needs that we haven't talked to as much tonight are in strengthening your brain. One thing is your circulation. Circulation is really important in terms of your brain function as well. And it's something that sometimes we in modern society, because of our lack of movement or because of whatever else, we don't do as well. Cypress essential oil is incredible for circulation. It's a great way to stimulate that. I don't know if any of you have seen some of the lymphatic challenge things that have been going around. If you've been around, or maybe you're new, a lot of people have been doing a lymphatic challenge, and that's one of the things that they use to stimulate that movement. But that can really help with circulation. Oxygen is important. We don't breathe well in today's world. We breathe shallowly and we breathe quickly and we don't focus on it and we don't slow down.
You know, breathing. You should probably like breathe. No duh, lady. Come on. My Lord. So breathe and drink water and move your body. Obviously. I'm pretty sure we all know how to breathe. It's so strange that she like is just repeating everything that the other girl was saying, and it's just such obvious stuff. Like, okay, how do we survive?
Our brains need that love and human connection. So don't underestimate that. Rose essential oil is a luxury top dollar, but you guys, you want to talk about really stimulating just those parts of your brain and that part of you that wants connection and intimacy, energy that goes with that. That is an incredible oil for that.
Rose oil is going to make you want intimacy. Is it going to bounce like a wow wow like that? Girl, what? I mean, hey, there are some smells that like get you excited, all right? I mean,
my mom used to put on Rose all the time, and she would go shopping and kids would literally like stop her and hold their arms out to her and just ask to be picked up, or start reaching for her from carts or things like that. She's amazing and she's an amazing grandmother and all those things. But she's like, Courtney, I put that rose oil on, and the kids, because they don't have the like barriers of adult people, are literally like reaching for me.
that's concerning. We should probably make sure that magic oil doesn't get in the wrong hands. Like, what? It just like really makes children gravitate towards you.
To be said, because there is an energy there that is attractive, and it is just encouraging that level of connection and showing it's like their bodies are sensing that that's a safe thing. And then last, our brains were meant to hear truth. Make sure that as you fuel and nourish your body with good things physically, you're nourishing your mind with truth, because we need it so desperately, that you're shutting off the things that are just keeping you in a state of frantic anxiety, because there is so much out there just assaulting us all the time. And we were not meant for that level of chaos that we are currently experiencing. Remember that your boundaries are your friends in terms of turning those things off, not listening to those things. And you can try to fuel yourself, but if you're just in a constant barrage of all of that negativity, it's hard. That's hard for your brain to fight.
I don't necessarily disagree with that. Obviously, like I agree with the main points that she's making, but not what she's saying after them at all. Yes, I agree that we should work out, drink water, stay hydrated, talk to people and have human connections and not isolate yourself, and all those things. And then obviously your boundaries, y'all know I'm big about boundaries, and sure that, like, for instance, I don't watch the news because typically it's over sensationalized and just toxic and like too political, and I don't want to watch that. So a lot of times I will like I've subscribed to like 2 things that send me like stuff in the morning, and it's just like a quick little brief of like what I need to know basically. Some people might not like it, but I unfollow a lot of people on social media, or I refuse to follow people on social media who don't bring me joy. Also, I hardly use my actual like own social media. I usually post and then go bye, right? It is important to protect yourself from like things that aren't going to bring you joy, things that are going to just be negative, lies and misinformation and stuff like that. But obviously when you are in this type of environment and in a multi-level marketing company, it's not always like that. Like what they usually see or sometimes can see as like stress, anxiety, negativity, all that is like someone telling them like, oh, well, statistically people fail in this company. And then they'll see that as negativity. And it's like, no, that's a fact. That's just a fact. That is truth. Like, you want truth. That's truth.
Toxins are hard for the brain part of your body to fight. That toxic mindset stuff that's everywhere all around us is also really hard for you to fight, and it wears you out and it makes you really, really exhausted. Another oil that I love in terms of that is like highest potential.
That is rich. That is comical. That is hilarious that she just said a toxic mindset, when it's like, girl, do you not realize this entire call is extremely toxic?
Covered a whole lot tonight and a whole lot for you guys to think about. Hopefully you wrote down some takeaways that can just be helpful for you, for your kids, for the people that you love. Always remember this. One thing that you do is way better than nothing. So you may listen to this and you're like, oh, I can't make all these changes. Pick something. Like tomorrow, eat something high fat and high protein for breakfast. Maybe you roll some, brain power on, or some genius, or some frankincense. Maybe you breathe a little deeper. Pick 1 or 2 things and start. Like Kim listed those quick wins that you see. Just do something. Just order some nitro next month and take it every day. Order some MindWise next month and take it every day. Pick a place to start. Don't let yourself get overwhelmed.
So doing one thing is better than doing nothing. I agree with that, but it's hilarious that they're like, eat a good breakfast, or order this, or order this, or order this, or do this, or replace this. And it's like, okay, calm down. How come only one option that you gave didn't have to do with Young Living? Obviously, because it's a Young Living sales call or opportunity call, whatever. Not really opportunity, just more so fear mongering. That was very unfortunate. I definitely understand why that was sent to me. Yikes, my lord. Please do not let these people scare you into thinking that you are like making your kids sick. Be healthy, work out, move your body, be nice to yourself, and don't listen to this BS. Go to therapy, go see a doctor, talk to a professional. These people have no qualifications at all, should be put in prison. like straight to jail, straight to prison. I will be reporting her to the FTC for making these types of medical claims. But that's the end of this video. I hope y'all enjoyed. I hope y'all are enjoying all the content this month. Down below, let me know if you are. Also, let me know if you are officially spicy. The only way to be certifiably spicy is to finish the whole video and make sure you subscribe. So please quadruple check. If you are subscribed, I want to make sure that all of you are subscribed. Remember how valuable you are. Your feelings are valid. Whatever you're going through, if it's something negative, this is temporary. If it's something positive, this is temporary. So make sure you're living in the moment. Have a great day, night, weekend whenever you're watching this, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.